For years, drones were mostly seen as tools. They were used to take aerial photographs, monitor farms, deliver supplies to help in search and rescue operations. But over the last few years, their role has changed rapidly. Today, drones are playing a major role in conflicts around the world. These small winged machines have shifted tactics from purely aerial surveillance to fully autonomous, networked operations. From the Russia-Ukraine war to the conflicts in West Asia, they are being used for surveillance, target identification and precision strikes. In many cases, drones are now doing tasks that were once carried out by expensive military equipment. The Russia-Ukraine war in particular has shown how even low-cost drones can have a significant impact on the battlefield. Be it mass-produced, inexpensive first-person view or kamikaze drones. Both sides have used thousands of drones for targeting and attack missions. However, the impact of drones is not limited to battlefields only. They are also a critical part of daily life. Governments, businesses, emergency services, all use them. As demand has grown, so has the industry. The global drone market is valued at over $100 billion and is expected to reach over $200 billion by 2034. New startups are entering the market every year. At the same time, major defense companies are investing billions into developing more advanced systems. On WION Wideangle, we decode how, in just a few decades, drones have gone from a niche technology to an essential part of modern life. Why are they now at the center of modern warfare? And what does the future hold for this rapidly evolving technology? Today, drones are a common sight, but their history goes back more than a century. Drones, or unmanned aerial vehicles, are aircraft that fly without a pilot on board. Some operate on their own using pre-programmed systems. Others are controlled remotely by operators on the ground. They can stay in the air for long periods of time and are now used in many different fields. The first pilotless aircraft were developed during the First World War, originally conceived as aerial torpedoes or flying bombs. In 1917, Britain tested a small radio-controlled aircraft called the Aerial Target. Flying bombs. A year later, the United States tested its own pilotless aircraft known as the Kettering Bug. Both aircraft showed potential during tests, but neither was used in active combat during the war. But do you know who invented them? The first quadcopter was probably built in 1907 by the French Breguet brothers, Jacques and Louis. But gyroplane number 1 was unstable and could only fly about 2 feet above the ground for a maximum time of 1 minute. But just a decade later, the Ruston Protector Aerial Target became the first pilotless winged aircraft in history. Work on unmanned aircraft continued in the years between the two world wars. In 1935, Britain developed a number of radio-controlled aircraft for military training. These aircraft were used as targets to help train gunners. Many believe the word drone became popular during this period. The name is thought to have been inspired by one of these aircraft, the DH-82B, Queen Bee. The United States also produced radio-controlled drones for training and target practice. Over time, the technology continued to improve. Drones were first used on a large scale for reconnaissance during the Vietnam War. They helped military forces gather information without putting pilots at risk. As the technology advanced, drones took on new roles. They were used as decoys to confuse enemy defenses and to launch missiles against fixed targets. They were even used to drop leaflets as part of psychological operations. After the Vietnam War, more countries started investing in drone technology. New models could fly higher, stay in the air longer, and carry out more complex missions. In recent years, drones have become even more advanced. Some now use solar power and other new technologies to extend their flight time. What started as an experiment during the First World War has today become one of the most important technologies of the modern age. If there is one war that has revolutionized UAV warfare, it is the Russia-Ukraine war. It has often been described as the world's first large-scale drone war. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, many military experts expected conventional weapons to dominate the battlefield. Tanks, artillery, fighter jets and missiles were expected to play key roles. Instead, drones quickly emerged as one of the most important tools of this war. Both sides began using them for surveillance, target identification, artillery coordination, and attack missions. As the war continued, thousands of drones entered the battlefield. The conflict showed that drones did not have to be expensive to be effective. In many cases, low-cost drones were used to destroy equipment worth millions of dollars. In the early months of the war, one drone attracted global attention, the Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2. The drone had already been used in conflicts in Syria, Libya, and Nagorno-Karabakh. But in Ukraine, it became a symbol of resistance. Videos released by Ukrainian forces showed Bayraktar drones striking Russian tanks, air defense systems, supply vehicles, and military positions. The drone played an important role in slowing Russian advances. Its ability to stay in the air for long periods and carry precision-guided munitions made it a valuable asset. But as the war evolved, so did the threat environment. Russian air defenses and electronic warfare systems became more effective. Larger drones like the Bayraktar became easier to detect and target. Over time, Ukraine began shifting towards smaller and cheaper drones. While Ukraine's Bayraktar drones were gaining international attention, Russia was relying heavily on a different system, the Orlan 10. The Orlan 10 became one of the most widely used Russian drones during the war. It was primarily used for reconnaissance, surveillance, and target identification. The drone helped Russian forces track Ukrainian positions and direct artillery fire with greater accuracy. Also known as Russia's eyes in the sky, the Orlan 10 could stay in the air for hours and operate over long distances. It was often deployed in groups with different drones carrying out surveillance, communication, and electronic warfare tasks. The impact of the drone operation was seen in far-flung areas of Russia. Just a year ago, on the 1st of June, dubbed Spiderweb, the Ukrainian operation saw drones hit targets across a large swath of Russia. Ukraine claimed that it bombarded 41 Russian warplanes at 5 military bases, including in Belaya, which is closer to Japan than Ukraine, and at Olenia base near Murmansk in the Arctic Circle. Planned for over 18 months, a barrage of drones were stashed in trucks and sneaked into Russia. They were taken close to Russia's airfields, and then later these drones, concealed under the roofs of wooden cabins installed on lorries, were launched in what is being described as one of the most audacious Ukrainian offensives. The impacts of drones in the Russia-Ukraine war has gone far beyond the battlefield. The war has forced militaries around the world to reassess their strategies. It has also become a testing ground for new technologies. The Russia-Ukraine war created a new kind of drone warfare. At the center of this change are FPV, or first-person view drones. These drones allow operators to see through an onboard camera in real time while controlling the aircraft from a distance. Originally, FPV drones were popular among hobbyists and drone racing enthusiasts, but the battlefield gave them a new purpose. Both Ukrainian and Russian forces began modifying these small drones to carry explosives. The result was a low-cost weapon that could strike targets with remarkable precision. One of the biggest reasons for the success of FPV drones is their cost. A modern tank can cost millions of dollars, but an FPV drone costs just a few $100s. These small aircraft have proven capable of damaging or destroying tanks, armored vehicles, artillery positions, and even air defense systems. They can fly low, change direction quickly, and can reach targets that may be difficult for traditional weapons to hit. For soldiers on the front lines, FPV drones have become one of the most feared threats of the war. The FPV drone may be small in size, but its impact has been enormous. What started as a tool for recreational flying has become a weapon that is reshaping modern warfare. On the 2nd of June 2026, Russia launched one of its largest aerial assaults of the war. According to Ukrainian officials, Russia fired a combined total of 656 drones and 73 missiles overnight. The attack targeted multiple regions across the country. Ukraine's Air Force said it intercepted 602 drones and 40 missiles. But despite those interceptions, more than 30 locations were reportedly hit, which left at least 11 people dead and dozens injured. According to Ukrainian officials, Kyiv was the main target of the attack. Residents described the scene as apocalyptic.
Smoke was everywhere. I crouched with my daughter and tried to cover her, but a stone or debris from the building hit her and tore her jacket. She is saying her back hurts. Everything was covered with smoke. We couldn't understand what was happening. Some kind of apocalypse.
I woke up from my bed and decided to move to the corridor. I heard explosions coming closer and closer. I turned my back to the window to go to the apartment door. At that moment, there was an explosion which threw me against the door. But I'm fine now.
Residents took shelter in the metro during the strikes. Weaponized drones with even greater lethality are increasingly being used in various conflict zones. For many years now, drones have been used to hunt down and kill specific individuals. One of the most high-profile examples is the killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar on the 16th of October 2024. For more than a year, Israel had been searching for Sinwar, who was considered the architect of the October 7 attacks. His final moments were captured by a drone. Footage released by the Israeli military showed a wounded Sinwar sitting inside a damaged building in southern Gaza. According to IDF, this man was Yahya Sinwar. Sinwar is then seen throwing an object at the drone, and the video ends. Shortly after, Israeli forces carried out additional strikes on the building. Sinwar was killed during the operation. The US government has carried out a number of high-profile assassinations over the course of its 20-year global war on terror. One such operation was the assassination of Ayman al-Zawahiri on July 31, 2022 in Kabul, Afghanistan. The 71-year-old Egyptian doctor took over Al-Qaeda after the death of Osama bin Laden in May 2011. Officials said Zawahiri was on the balcony of a safe house in Kabul when the drone fired 2 missiles at him. Zawahiri's assassination came nearly a year after the US troops withdrew from Afghanistan, allowing the Taliban to retake control of the country. And then there was this, the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, Iran's most powerful military commander, back in 2020. Soleimani and other officials were leaving Baghdad airport in 2 cars when they were hit by a US drone strike near a cargo area. Qasem Soleimani headed the Iranian military operations in West Asia as the head of Iran's elite Quds force. According to the US President Donald Trump, Soleimani was directly and indirectly responsible for the deaths of millions of people.
He's been called a monster, and he was a monster. And he's no longer a monster, he's dead. And that's a good thing for a lot of countries. And he was planning a very big attack and a very bad attack for us and other people, and we stopped him.
Soleimani was widely seen as the second most powerful figure in Iran after the former supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The Quds force reported directly to the Ayatollah, and Soleimani was hailed as a heroic national figure. Soleimani's killing marked a major escalation in tensions between Washington and Tehran, triggering a massive global outcry with violent protests and international condemnation. The US government's operation of targeted killings has historically relied on large drones that use missiles and munitions to conduct strikes. Militaries are buying more drones, defense companies are developing new ones, and governments are investing billions of dollars to ensure they do not fall behind. Several countries have emerged as major players in the global drone industry. China remains one of the world's largest drone manufacturers. Many Chinese companies dominate large parts of the commercial drone market. The United States continues to lead in high-end military drones. American systems, such as the MQ-9 Reaper, have been used in operations across the world. US defense companies are also investing heavily in autonomous systems, AI-enabled drones, and counter-drone technologies. Turkey has also emerged as a major drone exporter. The success of the Bayraktar TB2 in multiple conflicts has helped turn the country into an important player in the global defense market. Today, Turkish-made drones are being sold to dozens of countries across Europe, Asia, Africa, and West Asia. The war in Ukraine has also created a new generation of drone manufacturers. Before the war, Ukraine had a relatively small drone industry. Today, it has hundreds of companies producing drones and related technologies. The country has rapidly expanded its production capacity to meet the demands of the battlefield. Some estimates suggest Ukraine is now producing millions of drones each year. The conflict has also attracted investment into startups developing everything from FPV drones to autonomous systems and counter-drone technology. The growth of the industry is being driven by rising defense spending. Governments are increasingly investing in drones because they offer capabilities that are often cheaper than traditional platforms. The military drone market alone was valued at more than $47 billion in 2025, and it is expected to approach $100 billion by 2033. In the United States, the Pentagon has proposed more than $53 billion for drones, autonomous systems, and counter-drone capabilities as part of its future defense plans. Around the world, countries are expanding procurement programs for drones, electronic warfare systems, and counter-drone defenses. Analysts believe drones will play an even bigger role in future defense budgets. The lesson of Ukraine has shown that large numbers of low-cost drones can have a major impact on the battlefield. A drone costing a few hundred or a few $1,000s can sometimes destroy equipment worth millions. For many defense planners, that cost advantage is becoming impossible to ignore. If the last decade was about the rise of drones, the next decade may be about what they become. Around the world, countries are investing in a new generation of drones. One of the biggest areas of development is stealth technology. Defense companies are working on drones with smaller radar signatures, making them more difficult for air defense systems to track and intercept. At the same time, missiles and drones are increasingly being targeted into a single weapon system. In some cases, drones are being used to identify targets and guide missile strikes. In others, they are acting as decoys, drawing fire away from higher value weapons. Artificial intelligence is also changing the capabilities of drones. New systems are being developed that can navigate, identify targets, and adapt to changing conditions with less human input than ever before. The goal is to create drones that can continue operating even in environments where GPS signals or communication networks are disrupted. Another technology attracting attention is drone swarms. Instead of a single aircraft, swarms use large numbers of drones working together. Iran's extensive use of drones in the recent war has demonstrated how large-scale drone warfare can create persistent pressure across hundreds of kilometers. As drones have become more accessible, their use has extended far beyond legitimate purposes. The same technology that is helping farmers monitor crops and militaries track targets is also being used by criminal networks and non-state actors. Around the world, drones are increasingly being used for smuggling operations. They can fly over fences, cross borders, avoid checkpoints, and deliver payloads with minimal human contact. In India, one of the biggest concerns is cross-border smuggling. Security agencies have reported a sharp increase in the use of drones to transport drugs, weapons, and other contraband across the India-Pakistan border. According to the Narcotics Control Bureau, drug-laden drones have emerged as a significant threat to India's internal security. Particularly in Punjab, security officials say some smuggling drones are now equipped with GPS navigation and fail-safe systems that allow them to return to their launch points if they encounter interference. In just over a century, drones have evolved into one of the most influential technologies of our time. They are transforming industries, supporting critical services, and changing the way militaries operate. But as their capabilities grow, so do the challenges they present. What happens next will not be defined by the machines themselves, but by how they are used.